Very good. It's 2:00, so we will begin our Liquor Control Committee meeting for today. We have 3 items on the agenda, and we have a full attendance, so I'm very pleased. Thank everybody for coming on a 15 below day, so we appreciate everybody for being here. Agenda item number 1 is approved minutes of the December 15th, 2021 regular meeting. We have the minutes in front of us. If there are any changes or corrections, please point those out. Otherwise, we would accept a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve following a correction of my name that's misspelled.
Again?
The third bullet in point number 2.
Okay.
Okay.
We
really
apologize
close.
for that, and thank you for the correction. Is there a second?
A second.
Motion and a second. Any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 2, review liquor applications. 2A application for the issuance of a Class F alcoholic beverage license to BPC Fargo LLC, doing business as Boss's Pizza and Chicken, to be located at 228 Broadway. And Steve, will you get us started with that?
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner. And again, apologize for the misspelling of the name. I guess I need a new secretary. I don't know how to type yet. And Jeremy is joining us virtually. And so it just kind of to remind everybody here, this Boss's Pizza application came to us. There were some concerns about one of the 2 people listed. And so Lisa was listed as an owner manager, and some concerns with her background. And so we gave Bosses a chance to list somebody else as a manager. And so the background check was done on Tamara Garrett, and Tamara is here today if there are any questions for her. And so at this point, really, everything is available for you at the front there. And I guess the things that came up in the investigation this time were one of the things that came up were that it sounds like they're planning on having Lisa be an owner of this Fargo location. The number that I had heard was 35%. And so anybody that owns more than 5% needs to go through all of the checks that we have, the background check and that stuff, and be approved. And so that's one consideration or one concern. There were no substantial concerns with Tamara being the manager. However, she self-identified as an assistant manager until she is fully trained. So it starts to get a little bit complex and a little bit, kind of mushy, I guess, and moving around on us a little bit. And so I don't know if you want to stop there or if we could, do you want me to go through some possible actions that we could take?
Well, let's just see if we have any questions so far. Otherwise, we'll just proceed. And if you want to give us some of our options, I think that'd be good. Are there any questions so far? I guess my question is, so, we had some issues at our last meeting. So they've made some changes, but could you kind of just summarize what the changes were?
Well, so they listed Tamara as a manager, and then through the process of the investigation, it was discovered that she is identifying as an assistant manager until that time that she is fully trained and capable of running the store herself. And so the other part that came out in this last round of conversations was that Lisa will have an ownership, or they're planning on Lisa having an ownership interest in the business, in which case she would have to qualify through our background check and all of those things.
Could I make a statement by chance?
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
This is Jeremy, and I just want to clarify things so that you guys have the information and everything's on the right page. Lisa is not going to have any ownership in the business. I own 100% of it in Fargo, and because of the situation that arose with the liquor license issues, Lisa will not be an owner, have any ownership in the Fargo location. She's actually, what we've determined is she's going to become a district manager. She's going to oversee Grand Forks and Fargo. I gave her a little bit more of a percentage in Grand Forks for her assistance in Fargo. for the first couple of months we're open, she'll probably be in Fargo a lot because she's going to help us because we'll be busy in Fargo and because training people, hiring people, all those types of things. Tamara is going to be the general manager in Fargo. That's what she's getting moved for, to be the general manager. She's been an assistant manager in Grand Forks since the day we opened it up there, which is back in 2019. She's got a good extensive background of, managing bars and stuff even before that. So I thought she'd be a good person to put in charge of this. Not that we're going to be anything close to a bar. We're going to be a pizza place that somebody can get a drink at. But Lisa won't have any ownership. She's going to be kind of in a role where it'll be a dual role. And to be honest with you, she'll probably, after the first 2-3 months in Fargo, she'll probably spend a lot more time in Grand Forks just because that will be the store that she has some ownership in. So that's kind of where we're at with it. I can show, obviously you have the paperwork. I'm 100% owner. And if we were ever to make Lisa an owner, we'd have to go through all the stuff to get her on the ownership, which we'd have to go before the Liquor Commission to do that anyway. So there's no plans to make Lisa an owner anytime in the near future, and that's the way it is, and that's because of the direction we've been given by you guys. So that's the truth of the matter.
So Steve, my question for you is the paperwork filled out correctly then? Do we have these are they in the right descriptions?
Well, the only thing that in the paperwork that is a little, different than what I'm hearing now is that where Tamara said what her role was going to be, she wrote in assistant manager. But as Jeremy is explaining it, it makes more sense that she would be, Lisa's district manager, and that she would be the manager of the store here in town.
So can you kind of explain to us? I guess my perspective was that she was not going to be able to be a part of it at this time because of our concerns, and so there were going to be some changes. So did they do that?
I believe so. Okay. To me, the role of a district manager, is not that direct, hands-on oversight that you see, in other facilities. Their concern is more broad spread, and so they're watching over number of stores, and that direct concern or the direct report is going to be the local person with the boots on the ground kind of person. So I do think that they're with what Jeremy is telling me, which is it's just slightly different than what I had heard, through kind of the ancillary through the chain here. To me, that what Jeremy is saying meets the recommendations that we had made was, take Lisa out of that daily control and exercise and control of the local store here in Fargo. Find somebody else to be that manager. So, yep.
So you had this conversation with Tamara on the 13th. It's now the 20th, I believe. Jeremy, have you spoken to Tamara in the last couple of days? Does she know that she's going to be the actual manager and not an assistant manager?
Yep, and you can add, we've talked in the I think it was probably a miscommunication on Tamara's part. She's been an assistant manager. Obviously Lisa will still be Lisa. She'll still probably be. She'll be under Lisa from that standpoint because Lisa will be somebody that kind of does the numbers at both the Grand Forks and Fargo stores. She'll be somebody that we look to from a food cost perspective and labor cost perspective. What types of best practices we can do differently. Tamara's going to be in charge of Fargo, and she's excited about it. She's moving her family there because she's getting that job. And she knows what she's doing. She's there, and you're free to ask her questions too. But I'm confident in her running the location. Obviously we're going to have to hire some more people and managers. And at the end of the day, with any liquor license, you're only as good as your very worst employee, because your very worst employee could overserve somebody or serve somebody underage. And we it's not always your best employee that matters. It's your worst employee. And I can tell you right now, Tamara knows how to run it. I have right now, this is the 10th location I'm opening. I've been in business for 14 years where I've had beer and liquor licenses, and we haven't had any issues anywhere. So I can assure you that we're responsible in that manner. And Tamara's, I guess I gave you a real long answer. Tamara understands that she's running the Fargo store. Yes.
Okay, thank you. I have no other questions.
Any other comments or questions by anybody? So with that, you look like you might have a question.
Well, I don't know if now is the time or if I should do it when we have comments. I'm concerned about another full alcohol license on Broadway. And I expressed that at the last meeting. And on Sunday, I walked downtown and I just did a head count of the businesses that are down here. And currently on Broadway alone, we have 13 establishments that serve full alcohol. Off Broadway, we have another 7. So that puts us at 20 establishments that serve full alcohol from Main Avenue to 6th Avenue North. And that doesn't include all of the off and on Broadway wine and beer licenses. So I can't get behind a full alcohol license on this. I could beer and wine, but you're right next door to a full bar right now, what you're proposing, and I can't get behind a full alcohol license. So I'll be voting no on this.
No, that's good comments. Anybody else have any comments or questions? So I guess Mike, go ahead.
I was just hoping to just to address that, and I sent something to Steve after, because Steve sent me something in regards to beer and wine license versus an alcohol license, and I just wanted to bring up what I had mentioned to Steve. And my thought process is that we're not going to be a bar. We're going to be a place that has food downtown till late into the early hours of the morning. And the reason I want an alcohol license is not so I can sell a bunch of alcohol. It's so that the guys that are right next door to me at Dempsey's, the people that are over there drinking and partying and whatever, they can get the drink they want if they come over to our place and get some food. Wherever they're at on Broadway or wherever down there, if people are drinking, they don't not take the time out to come down and get some food in their system because they can't get what they want to drink from us. And I think we're going to be a positive for the downtown community, because I think right now there's not food options, and we're going to provide a consistent food option every night of the week. And I don't want, whether it be kids or adults or whoever's down there, drinking at the other bars, I just don't want them to use the excuse, well, let's not go to Boss's because we can't get a Jack and Coke, or we don't want to go to Boss's because we can't get our margarita. And that's why I want the alcohol license. To me, at the end of the day, the beer and wine license is great, and if that's what I'm forced to get, I'm willing to go down that road. But I just feel like I feel like we'll be a benefit to the downtown community, and the fact that if they can get what they want to drink from us, that maybe they'll be more likely to come get food, which is always a good thing if people are going to get food while they're in the course of drinking.
So the other thing, Class F alcoholic beverage license is on sale only, and it's served at a table or booth, no bar allowed, and it requires 50% food sales. Correct, Steve?
That's absolutely correct.
So it's not. This isn't a. And obviously, the option would have been they can apply for different. There's different licenses where you just serve beer, or so. There are other options. Any other comments or questions? Anybody from the audience want to get up and say anything? Are we ready to vote, or is there anything else anybody else wants to say? Are we ready for a motion?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 3, Police Department monthly report, and there's 2 of them, Sicky's Garage compliance failure and general report. Chief.
Good afternoon. The Sicky's Garage compliance failure happened on
December 8th, 6:40 p.m. An 18-year-old female was with one of our undercover officers, entered the establishment, provided the server with her valid ID, showing her to be 18 years old. The server looked at it and then went and got her beer, placed the beer down and walked away, at which time the officer then stopped her and advised her of the violation. The server said that she was looking at the wrong part of the ID because there's two lines, one that says when they turn 18 and one that says when they turn 21. Recommendation is just follow the matrix.
And so, I don't know, can you just give us a description? What is this their first violation? And then what is the penalty this time, Steve?
Yeah, this is the first violation. The penalty would be a $500 fine, which can be waived if they request that waiver. I'm not sure if anybody's here from Sickies. I don't believe so. I don't see anybody raising their hand. So I'm assuming they've been notified that we were going to hear this, and so I'm assuming that they're not going to protest.
So then they get a $500 fine?
That's correct.
Okay. Are there any comments or questions?
How many compliance checks did you do in the last month or so?
That I don't know. I could find out and send.
Preston is here.
Oh, good.
Sure.
You can either use the microphone by Nancy or go up to whichever is easier for you. There you go. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. What was your question again for compliance checks this past month?
How many checks have we done in the past month or so?
These checks, I believe, were done in December, if I remember correctly.
Oh, I see.
So these are our most recent ones, and we're working to get future ones scheduled. We just won't announce dates.
So if you don't mind me.
So in December, I think we
Yeah.
had one officer out, if I remember correctly. So I think they checked. I can get you those numbers exactly. They're at my computer, but
Or ballpark.
we've only had one fail, and this was a good pass rate on this one.
Okay.
If you don't mind doing a follow-up and just sending us a group email, just summarizing in December the number of checks you did, and they do that in the past. So if you don't mind doing that for all of us, kind of a group email, just to say how many you did, how much, what the pass rate was, we would appreciate that.
Nope, will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I really view this as a good check on how the businesses are doing and how the trainings are going. So I'm very interested in that information. So thank you. Thanks, Preston.
Good question. And then B is the general report.
Nothing from me unless there's questions from the group.
I don't know if anybody, I appreciate you sending out we all get those emails with the summaries of all the different the different experiences. And so we have time ahead of time. So thank you for doing that. I don't know if there's any specific questions on any of them. Otherwise, thank you.
Thank you.
And then,
Go ahead,
Commissioner, I do
Steve.
have one other item that's not on the agenda.
Oh, did we vote to follow the matrix?
We have to do that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry about that too. I got off track. So I think we have a motion and a second.
Yep.
Correct? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Steve.
So one other item that just appeared here in the last couple of days, and the police and our department are kind of working on tracking this down. But about this time of year, the state of North Dakota notifies us of people that failed to timely renew their liquor licenses. So the state has an annual renewal on the 31st. And the city of Fargo, we renew annually June 30th. And so sometimes I know it does get kind of confusing for the licensees at times. But anyway, the state did provide us a list of people that, overlooked it or whatever. And we made contact with those people. And a few of them are kind of like, oh, I forgot to do that. And so they're working on getting their licenses renewed. And as of this morning, there were eight businesses. Some of them maybe it could be like a name change where they renewed under the new name and the state still has the old name, that type of thing. That's been known to happen in the past. And there may be one or two of these that have gone out of business, and that's kind of when we discover some of these things. So
Steve, can I ask you a question? So with the state, if they fail to renew, what is the penalty for that? Do you know?
You know, I do not know. I believe there's additional fees because you let it lapse, that type of thing. But you know, I have enough trouble keeping up with all of our rules, so I don't worry about the state so much. But talking to the chief, they were going to send officers out to visit these places. Plus, they've got their email notification. So I imagine everybody by now is making contact with the state to get, you know, back up and running.
So you have successfully contacted all of them or had contact with them?
I use the email that we have, you know, so we just started this yesterday and had a lot of response. We had a longer list yesterday and had a lot of response yesterday regarding, you know, hey, I did do this. I'm waiting from the state, those types of things. We got responses back. The people that are left on the list here, there are about half of them that did not respond back to my email. So maybe they're not regular email checkers, that type of thing, but
So 4 out of 8 haven't responded yet?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And PD will be visiting those facilities and informing them that, you know, they're not to serve alcohol because they don't have a proper licensing. So.
Any other comments or questions? That's it. We're adjourned. Thank everybody for coming. Have a good afternoon.